Molweni Quintessentials, thank you so much for tuning in once again. Today, we will be talking about why it's important for entrepreneurs to talk about their mental health. It's a very relevant, timely topic, and it's a dialogue that's been had more openly over the past couple of years thanks to social media. So I just want us to really talk about some of the things that we as small business owners, as startups, go through when we are running our businesses. So please tune in. So first of all, why do we as entrepreneurs need to talk about our mental health? First and foremost, I think we all know that being an entrepreneur, a startup, is a very lonely journey. It is considered an unconventional path because you are starting something new, you are creating, you are producing, and whatever you're creating or producing may not yield immediate visible results. I mean, the work is there, and the hard work that you put in is never wasted, but you never know what is going to be the outcome when it comes to profits, your product or your service taking off. So it is a risk, and it's a risk that some people and most people are not willing to take. I did some research and I found out that 49% of entrepreneurs are likely to suffer mental health issues. I mean, that's almost 50%. That is a huge number. It shows that being a business owner, more so now, especially in this pandemic in South Africa, and I think in other parts of the world as well, most people are experiencing economic recession, jobs are being lost, businesses are going through the absolute most. And I think if you are even having consistent retainer clients, you are truly, truly blessed. It's important for us as entrepreneurs to really recognize some of the triggers, first of all, to our mental health, and to also build a support system and a community that can provide that support when we need it the most. I mentioned the triggers to mental health, one being lack of self-care. I think when you're running a business, you're thinking about, there's this whole grind mentality, and I love how I've been listening to a lot of sermons and they're reminding us that it's not really about the grind and the hustle. Yes, we have to do it, but we don't have to do it in our own strength. Lack of self-care is definitely one of the reasons what could trigger a mental health episode or a breakdown. Working 24/7, you're hustling, you're grinding, but it comes a point where you need to prioritize yourself. I realized over the past week when I was sick that I'm less productive, and that's time away from the business. Yes, you have your business partners, but that's one man down. So it's so important that you take care of yourself, you prioritize your health. So it's important as a person, as an entrepreneur, to take time out and to really prioritize your health, because your health translates into your business's health. If you're not healthy, the business is ultimately going to suffer. The second issue, or the second thing that could trigger your mental health, is tackling revolving uncertainties within the business. Case in point, we're living in a pandemic. We are 12 months into, lockdown. It's been very, very, very tough. So the country is in economic recession. The cost of living is high. The pressure is on. You're looking for business. Perhaps you're not winning and you're not able to source income or new clients or retainer clients, which is what you really need and you really want to have, especially in this time. Those things can really put pressure on your mental health because you're worried. You're worried about your income, you're worried about how you're going to pay your employees. You need to check for those triggers and find ways in which you try to manage your stress, because worrying really doesn't help anything. If anything, it just makes you sick. It makes you anxious. Find ways to cope. For me, I believe in prayer. That's the first and foremost step that I take. I don't do anything without praying. Even after like a 5-minute prayer, it does help me to self-soothe and to just take a step back, see the bigger picture, because sometimes when you're in the situation, you tend to magnify a situation, and learn to find rest honestly in God, because it's bigger than that's one thing that I've learned in these 7 years as an entrepreneur, is that you just have to find rest. And when I say rest, I mean finding rest in God's grace and letting him do what he can do. You can do what you can do. You can write the PR strategies, you can do the cold calls, you can promote, do your thing, but there comes a point where you have to relinquish and let go and just trust that God is with you and his grace is sufficient. Another trigger is, of course, the unexpected social isolation, COVID-19 lockdown. Last year we were in lockdown, hard lockdown for a good 6 months. And if you are living alone, I think it's added pressure. For some, like for me, I really do enjoy my personal space. I really do enjoy the solitude, to just be in my own space and do my own thing without any interruptions. But for some people, it is a serious trigger and it can lead to negative thoughts. Now that the restrictions have been loosened a bit and relaxed, for you to really connect with your community safely, but connect with people, especially while the situation still allows. And in South Africa, the numbers seem to be down. I mean, if the numbers are anything to go by, the number of infections are to go by, they're still a bit low. So do connect with your community. That will help you and support you during this time. If you are feeling isolated, you're feeling alone, you are feeling anxious, really that human connection, human touch, a hug, a talk, a vent really makes a difference to your mental health and your wholeness as a person. Another thing that will trigger your mental health as an entrepreneur is the actual business itself. Running a startup is hard work. It is hard work. You have to do everything. I found myself, like I mentioned earlier, I was sick and I was exhausted. Just the whole idea of having to be everything and do everything in the business. And I'm getting to that point where I need to really seriously look into finding a support, finding a team to help relieve the load. Energy, I think for me, what has been the most telling, a self-revelation, should I say, is realizing that I am exhausted from obviously my academics, that I'm so over it, but thank God, I think it's almost over. But also doing everything in the business. For example, running this channel on a consistent basis while I still have other responsibilities is a challenge at times. I found that I lacked creativity, the enthusiasm to even shoot, because when you're shooting, you need to be in a good space, you need to be vibrant, interesting, engaging on camera. And I just decided, you know what, I'm going to field some of the responsibilities to someone else in the team because they're more than capable. I think also you don't have to hoard the work. You don't have to do everything and be everything in your own business. I've actually requested and hired a content strategist that helps me with my content calendar for my business. And I've also hired a team that's helping me to promote some of these videos. Yeah, because sometimes you have your ideas and it's just you. I think, no, you need to, it's important to invite other people into the process so you can get new, fresh, creative ideas. I think the other most common reason why we as entrepreneurs suffer, and particularly in silence with mental health, is we don't have the means. Like the money to go and see a psychiatrist is simply not there. The money to go and talk to someone for an hour for like 1,000 rand at an hour is just not there. It's not a viable option. It could also be a case of lack of self-awareness as a person, which is something I really encourage people to do. Even as an individual, it's always good to get feedback from your close-knit people that you trust, to give you feedback on yourself, some of the decisions that you make and how you interact and how you respond to various situations. I do that often and I find that it does really help. That's how I discovered and I learned that I'm considered a perfectionist, by talking and engaging with people and figuring out how best can I chill, learn to not try to control things, because I think perfectionism is rooted in wanting control, that safety of being in control. If you can't afford a therapist, you can seek, the nonprofit organizations, Lifeline, and a whole bunch of other organizations. I think it's called Tears, that you can contact, that will definitely be willing to help you at no cost. So now that we know what are the triggers, why do we need to maintain our mental health as entrepreneurs, as small business owners? Number one, it boosts your confidence. When you are in a good mental space, you're creative, you are more open to taking risks, you are more open to going out there and presenting yourself, presenting your company, seeking new opportunities, as opposed to obviously when you're down and you are feeling miserable or you are like clinically depressed. It becomes difficult just to do the daily tasks of everyday life to help your business to survive. So it's important that you take care of your mental health so that you can increase the productivity of your business. Like I mentioned, if you're sick, you're in bed, there's very little that you can do, and there's very little that you should be doing, because that's your body crying out and letting you know that it's tired, it needs a break. Maintaining and managing good mental health means you will be able to have increased productivity, and obviously with productivity you will see the results within your business. Taking care of your mental health also means finding ways to deal with adversity. Life is an adversity. Adulting is an adversity. Growing up is learning to cope with bad situations. Bad things happen at times, but like I mentioned, you have to have a source that you go to refill, whether it's therapy, whether it's talking to a friend, whether it's building that community for yourself, whether it's praying and asking God for that support. It's very, very important for you to figure out ways to cope with adversity. For me, opening up scripture, speaking them out, it really helps me. For somebody else, it could be journaling. For somebody else, it's exercise, eating healthy, drinking water. It's actually all of those things. This point is very important when it comes to dealing with addressing issues of mental health. You have to disconnect your value from your business's value. If your business is not doing well, it doesn't mean that you yourself are a failure. You've just hit an obstacle. It's a moment in time. It's a learning experience. Failure in business is not really failure. It's a lesson. You should not connect your self-worth to your business's value. That is completely wrong. Your business is an entity on its own. You are an individual with self-worth. You are valuable as a person on your own. You don't need accolades. You don't need success or what is considered success in this world, whether it's money, whether it's recognition, whether it's trending on the social media platforms, you are moneyed, or whatever it is. You need to learn to find self-value within yourself. You need to learn to love yourself outside of all the things that I've just listed. It comes with growing up. It comes with being an adult, because the storms of life are going to come, but you need to be anchored and rooted in your identity. You need to know who you are. Even if you lost everything, it does not make you less of a person. It does not make you less desirable, less lovable, less valuable. You mean something to someone in this world. You have to find value in your purpose. Find value in your purpose. Find value and find identity in things that will outlive this world. You have to love yourself, basically. I think that's what I mean when I'm saying self-care and eat right and do all these things. Love yourself. You don't need other things to make you valuable. You are valuable by virtue of being born, by virtue of being on this earth. You have a role to play. We've identified the triggers. We've identified why it's important to take care of your mental health. What are the solutions? You need to first identify what is it that is really causing you stress. What are you so afraid of? What are you so fearful of? And you work your way backwards from there. Is it lack of funding? Is it something clinical that you need to go and speak to a professional, a doctor? Figure out what is causing you stress. That's the first thing. Secondly, it's managing your workload. Get away from this mentality that you need to be grinding 24/7, no sleep, no this, no that, for you to be considered a successful person. That is a myth, and that is a surefire way of you working yourself into a burnout and then declining into serious mental health issues. So manage your workload. Like I said, I was trying to do everything in my business. It's tiring, and quite frankly, it's important that you also uplift other people and involve other people in your vision. And that is a way that you grow your business, by working with a community. Do not be afraid to ask for help. And if you can hire additional staff members to lighten the load, then do so. Even if it's on a freelance basis where you hire people per project, you don't have to have permanent employees, but you need someone to help you now to create a content calendar for the next 3 months, just to lessen the load. At least that's one thing that's been done. View downtime as productivity. I know there's this myth that if you're relaxing, it means you are lazy. Taking time out is just an absolute no-no. It goes back to what I've been saying about this whole grind mentality. That's what's killing us. And get away from that. Take time, invest time. My body, I listen to my body these days. When my body is saying no, trust me, I listen. I stay in bed. If I can't go further, I can't go further. And I'm not going to now kill myself because of a degree or a business. No. There is a time and a place for everything, and if you are going to live a balanced life, you have to respond to the cues that your body is giving you, that your mind is giving you, and respond swiftly. Don't delay and wait for things to escalate to a point where it's now, beyond repair or irreparable. Really take that time and take a break. Take a break. Every week you have to have a day or two off where you are just doing things that fulfill your soul, and you're not always thinking about your business 24/7. Yes, sometimes it's, when you love something and you have a passion for it, you tend to go in and go hard, and it's fun. Or like editing is fun, making videos, dressing up, it's fun, but you do need to take that distance and take a break. And then it's very important also to find a supportive community. I've mentioned this, I think, numerous times in this video. I've mentioned it in other videos before. You have to have a support system. You have to have someone you can talk to, whether it's your friends, whether it's your business partners, whether it's a therapist. You must have a community that will help you. You cannot do life alone. Life was never meant to be done alone. I think that's what we've learned from this pandemic. We are social beings. By nature, we were created and desire to engage with other people on a social level. And also offer support to people as well. When you are healed and when you are in a good space, reciprocate and offer support to your friends, your family, other entrepreneurs. And it's also very key to have a community of other entrepreneurs that you work with, because they understand the things that you are going through. They understand when you say you don't have money. They understand late payments. They understand the mental stress. They understand difficult clients. So there's certain conversations that you can have with other entrepreneurs that you can't have with your close circle of friends. Build that network of support within the framework of your ecosystem of entrepreneurs. So separate your work from home. Home time is home time, family time is family time. Have a time where you are logging off. This thing of being on your computer while you're on TV or you're cooking or you're doing this and you're doing, no. Have a time where you are completely logged off, completely present in the moment, completely de-escalating from a hectic day and taking that time to decompress. I cannot stress this enough. We were not designed to work, to overexert ourselves with work, just like we were not designed to not do anything. So find a balance, strike a balance between the two. I definitely believe in the do not disturb button on my phone. there's a certain time when I just don't want to be getting calls, texts. It's very it's disorientating to be getting text and messages after 11 or calls or whatever it is. So I usually have my do not disturb between 11 and 7. I mean, I don't know why would anybody want to be calling you at 7 unless it's an emergency. Then you can call me, but I'm also not a morning person, so I really don't want to be taking calls before 8. Even 8 is a bit of a but have systems in place where you also manage your interactions, whether it's socially, on your phone, work, so that people know that these are the times that she's available. Manage your clients also need to be managed. Let them know that there are certain times when you are not available, weekends, after hours. I mean, sometimes there's a crisis. It has to be a once in a while thing, but it cannot be a way of doing business. So it's also incumbent on you to put those boundaries in place with your clients, just like you are putting boundaries with family and friends. If you are consistent and you're firm, they will respect it. So log out. I think that's what I want to say about why entrepreneurs need mental health. Obviously, this is just skimming at the top. There's so much more that can be said. How are you managing your mental health, especially now in a COVID pandemic situation? Comment below. Let me know what other coping mechanisms can we use as entrepreneurs. Let's help each other. Let's talk and assist one another and support one another in managing and really ensuring that our mental health is priority. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for liking, for subscribing, for commenting. I really enjoy hearing from you and engaging with new and different people. I definitely appreciate all of the feedback. Until next time, Quintessentials. Cheers.